In this video, I'm going to compare these two bikes, the Aventon Aventure and the Multijoy Spaniel. We're going to go head to head. I'm going to show you exactly what's similar and what's different. So let's get into it. At the time of making this video, the Aventon Aventure retails for $18.99, and right now, the Multijoy Spaniel retails for $17.99. The Aventure comes in a step over and a step through model, but so does the Multijoy. The Aventure step over model comes in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. And you can get it in 3 different colors, sand, green, or black. Now their step through model comes in 2 sizes, small and medium and large. It also comes in 3 colors, sand, green, and red. The Multijoy comes in a one-size-fits-all type situation. Now it does come in 2 colors. You can get it in this gray like I have here, and it also comes in black. Now if you're talking about the step-through model, it also comes in one size. And it comes in 3 colors. And it only comes in one color, which is white. Green, when it comes to weight capacity, the Aventon Aventure can do 400 pounds. The Multijoy Spaniel has a limit of 350. Both bikes are shipped to you as a Class 2, but both of them can be unlocked to be a Class 3. Now a Class 2 bike means it only goes up to 20 miles an hour, whether it be pedal or not. And when you unlock it to Class 3, it goes to 28. So both of these bikes are able to do 28 miles an hour. Actually, they both do more than 28 miles an hour, but that's how you get it. Both bikes come with a suspension front fork that you can lock out, and they're both 80 millimeters in travel. They're each rocking 26 by 4-inch Kenda tires. Each bike comes with a color display, but they do 2 different functions, and we'll go over that here in a minute. They both come with front and rear fenders, although I have the front fenders off these bikes right now because that's how I like it. But the ones on the Multijoy, those are actually plastic, and the ones on the Aventon, all the fenders are metal. Each have a 750 watt rear cadence motor that has the peak power of 1130 kilowatts. The Multijoy comes with a rear rack, but if you want one for the Aventure, you're going to have to purchase it separately. If you do, they both hold 55 pounds maximum. Both bikes have front headlights, and they also have rear tail lights that light up whenever you hit the brakes. The one on the Multijoy is bigger than the headlight is bigger than the one on the Aventon. And also when it comes to the tail light, with the Aventon, it's stuck into the frame. With the Multijoy, connected to the rack that's on the back, and then the wire kind of goes through the rear fender, making it to where you can't really take the rear fender off to be able to keep that light, but you can do that with the Aventon. You can take your rear rack off and fender off and still be able to have a brake light. Now we're going to start getting into the differences of these two bikes. Number one, when it comes to the throttle, the Aventon has a thumb throttle on it. It's on your left-hand side. The Multijoy has a twist throttle, so it operates more like, it's a half twist throttle, and it operates more like, to me, like a motorcycle. The hand grips on the Aventon seem to be more sportish, while the hand grips on the Multijoy have palm rests on them, and it makes it more for cruising. The total weight of each bicycle, the Aventon is 73 pounds, and the Multijoy is 72 pounds. The Multijoy has 180 millimeter mechanical brakes, but the Aventon has 180 millimeter hydraulic brakes. Both bikes come with crank arms that are 170 millimeters long with 46 teeth on the front sprocket. The only difference is that with the Aventon, the lower bracket is closer to the ground, so to avoid pedal strikes, I ended up having to shorten my crank set to 152 millimeter instead of the 170 millimeter cranks. But with the Multijoy, taking it on the same mountain bike trails, I didn't have any pedal strikes, leaving it at the 170 because the bottom bracket is higher than the Aventon. The Aventon has an 8-speed Shimano gear system. The Multijoy has a 7-speed Shimano gear system, but it also has a derailleur guard that the Aventon doesn't have, and it also has a built-in bell. If you're using power only with the thumb throttle on the Aventon, the bike is limited to 20 miles per hour. With the Multijoy, if you just use power of the half twist throttle, you can go up to 28 miles per hour without pedaling. Here's where we start noticing the big differences. This battery that's on the Multijoy is a 960 watt hour, 48 volt, 20 amp battery, which means it's going to go farther and faster than the Aventon, which has a 48 volt, 15 amp, 720 watt hour battery. Let's talk about range. Aventon says it can do 27 miles by just using the throttle and averages 45 miles if you use pedal assist. Multijoy says it can do 40 miles by just using the throttle and 70 miles by using pedal assist. There's also a big difference with the type battery chargers that these both have. Now they both have the 3 amp speed chargers, but with the Aventon, that battery charger itself will get so hot that you can't touch it. The Multijoy bike, well, that thing has a built-in fan. You can hear it when it runs, and it doesn't get hot at all. As mentioned, both bikes have a color display, but if you want to make changes to your Aventon, well, you need an app to do it. And to be honest, after I unlock this thing to make it a class 3 instead of a class 2 and unlock the power, I don't use this app at all. It's supposed to be able to track how long you go and your distances and stuff. It doesn't really work that great, so I don't use it. With the Multijoy, all your changes are made through the display itself. And if you're curious on how many changes you can make with that bike, check out my unboxing and first review of this Multijoy bike. On the Aventure, the main operating controller is built within the frame, and as you can see, the battery is tucked inside the frame as well, giving it this clean look. With the Multijoy, the controller is outside of the frame, and so is the battery. Now, I thought that this would be an issue when I took it on mountain bike trails. But to be honest, it was perfect. It didn't even hit. I was worried about it at first, went over some big bumps, and it was totally fine. Here is one of the things that I think is really smart about this bike. When you take the battery out, here's the connector. As you can see, if water and dirt run down, it's not running down into the connectors like it is on my Aventon. I'm going to show you here in a second. But this has just one connector up here at the top. It just clicks in. Boom, lock it up. Good to go. With my Aventon, when you release it, the battery comes out. Down here are your connectors. So if any rain or whatever, when people take their batteries out to travel, they have to somehow figure out how to cover this up. Me, I always travel with my battery in my bike. I know you're gonna come at me in the comments, but it's just how I do it. You know why? Because my battery doesn't fall out. The Multijoy, since it did come with this rack, it also came with these straps. And I remember when I first got this bike and we put it together and I looked at this and I'm like, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna use these for. I tell you what, I use these all the time and they're excellent. I liked them so much that I had to buy an aftermarket version for the Adventure. Both bikes will come with a standard seat, although the one on the Multijoy was wider than the one I had on the Adventure. And then you obviously will get a straight post and a quick release for each one of the bikes. I love the hydraulic brakes that are on my bike. They just feel so good, and they just stop it so well, and you can just really feel it. Now these are the Zoom ones. I know they put different models on the Aventon bikes. As you can see, I had to add a boom. And the only thing that you have to do is you have to just do lever bleeds on these brakes every once in a while. But besides stopping power and all that kind of stuff, I love these brakes. They feel great. The mechanical brakes on this bike, I feel, are just lacking. Okay, I feel like they just need to stop better. And, you know, they're mechanical, so they're not hydraulic, and you have to adjust them. And when I first got these, he squeaked. I couldn't get them to stop squeaking, but I had to take it to a bike shop. After multiple tries, we got it to stop squeaking because they're mechanical brakes. But I feel like for a bike this heavy and one that goes as fast, these should have been hydraulics. And to be honest, I'm probably going to upgrade these two hydraulic brakes very soon. On the Adventure, the decals and the lettering clear coated over, so they're not coming off. With the Multijoy, they're also that way, except this one on the battery is just overlaid. I can feel it, so I can pull that off if I wanted to. And also, the lettering on the fenders came off when I power washed it. Look, I know you're gonna come at me about this power wash thing, but I do power wash my bikes all the time. And the only difference is I just don't put the power washer near where the battery connectors are or where the display is. And it's for me, not for you. Could be for you, maybe not, but you might freak out, but don't freak out. It's worked great for me. I've probably power washed each one of these bikes by 10 times. Now that I've gone through all the specifications on both of these bikes, there's only one thing left to do. We're gonna take them out and we're gonna do a launch test. We're gonna see which one takes off quicker, because I don't know. But luckily I have a buddy who just showed up from LA. He's never been on any e-bikes before, so this will be interesting. And he's gonna help me compete these two bikes together and also compare. And it'll also going to be a great way to find out how somebody who's never ridden an e-bike before, what he thinks of each one of these. And we're going to find that out here in just a minute. So let's get going and let's get these puppies on the road. We're out here on the 606 trail. He's just started. He's starting off by riding the Multijoy, and we've probably gone like, well, we had to go back and get some gloves because it's a little bit cooler. Chicago, what are you gonna do? And what do you think so far?
It's fun. This is a lot of fun to ride this thing. My first time on an e-bike. It was as easy as those scooters, but the pedal assist is really cool, and the fact that I can just rev it like a motorcycle is awesome. So
He's getting so spoiled.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, we're here. We're going to do the launch test, and from there, we have our bikes lined up next to each other. We're going to use nothing but throttle, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll start off with mine. He'll start off with his, and we're going to see who takes off first. He's on the Multijoy. I'm on the Aventon, and let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. No! I'm gaining. Wow.
No question. Multijoy by far, not only with the timing of the acceleration, but I mean,
I topped out at 20.
I immediately had a gap in the lead, and then the gap was just increased. It never.
I could hear, if you guys could hear, he was giggling. He was giggling at me.
There was no competition. It was just, if you saw the gap on the video, it's game over.
Yeah, they watched it. They literally just watched the gap in the video.
Game over.
It was game over for sure. Okay, so the next test that we're going to do, now that I just got wasted on that one, is we're going to do a brake test, because since these are hydraulics, that's mechanical. We're going to go ahead and see which one is going to stop quicker. I already know who's going to win this one. Hang on, you're too fast. 3, 2, 1.
Pretty even.
Yeah, they were pretty even.
Pretty even.
All right, we just got back. Now, first of all, what was your experience?
I thought it was great. It was a really cool, piece of machinery to be on, as opposed to just like biking the whole time. To be able to take video on it and not pedal the whole time was great. It allows you to go around the city a lot easier. So I had a lot of fun.
Okay. And what were some of the features you liked about this one and some that you didn't?
Okay, so the Aventon. I'll start with what I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that when I pushed the throttle, there was an obvious delay, like 3-second delay before it would go. And so that I didn't like. If I'm gonna hit the pedal on something, I expect, instant feedback. I thought the braking on it was really good though. The braking was very smooth and no squeaking in the braking at all. And front and rear brakes were amazing, even at different speeds. I think the pedaling for increasing the I forget what it's called.
The pedal assist?
The pedal assist. When you hit 5, I thought it was really good. There was a bit of delay with the pedal assist, but I thought it was appropriate. If I'm pedaling and it's got to adjust, as a first-time e-biker, right? You got to adjust. Maybe it's got to adjust how fast you're pedaling, whatever. So I thought the pedal assist was great. The shocks and I would say the shocks on it were pretty good as well compared to the Multijoy. But yeah, I would say the biggest con for this was the acceleration delay. But other than that, I thought the bike was great. Oh yeah, before we talk about the Multijoy, I want to mention the buttons and how to turn the Aventon on. Again, as a first-time person on an e-bike, I didn't find it very intuitive that the button is on like the left chassis part. So without Scott showing me, I wouldn't have known it's there. I thought it was up near where all the other controls would intuitively be. Whether that's good or bad, you know, I guess that's depending on the rider. For me, I prefer to have all my controls kind of at my fingertips and not, you know, somewhere else on the bike. So that's my feedback for where the buttons are and to turn it on.
All right, we're over here at the Multijoy. Now tell me, well, you want to start with what you didn't like?
Sure. What I didn't like with this, the Multijoy, was the braking. And Scott just informed me the braking on this is mechanical versus hydraulic on the Aventon. And it's definitely a big difference in the braking. I mean, there's some squeaking, and it just takes a little bit longer for you to get to a full stop at different speeds compared to the Aventon at the same speeds, right? So the mechanical braking, I would say, isn't a pro of the.
Well, I just, you know, I told him, I figured that the way, see, when you were down and you were away, this is when I was doing all the review, and I knew this beforehand, and I said, I feel like this bike is too heavy and too fast for it to have mechanical brakes.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
I agree with that because the speed on this was amazing. I mean, I thought, you know, again, compared to the Aventon, it was really good. With the acceleration, I liked where the throttle was and kind of made you feel like you're riding a dirt bike or a motorcycle, which I thought was cool. And it was very responsive for the takeoff, both with the pedal assist and with if you're just using the full throttle. So I thought it was really good on the acceleration and top speed, but I agree with Scott in the fact that the brakes don't match the power of the bike.
Out of these two, which one is the one you're going to be riding all the time?
I'm probably going to be riding the Multijoy. and the reason is because most of the time we're going to be accelerating, right? Because if you think about when you're on a bike, what you're going to accelerate, you're going to brake. And so one has a better braking system, and I think one has a better accelerating feature to it. So
Thank you, buddy.
I think, you know, I'm going to be on the Multijoy for the duration of my trip. And, you know, and I found it easier to turn on, a little more intuitive. There's just a few buttons all at the front in the control panel. So I prefer.
You know, my girlfriend also likes the Multijoy.
What are you saying about that?
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying that's what, you know, I had my buddy Chris ride them both, and he ended up liking this one more than that one.
Sure.
So now we have like a 2 and 2, right? Like we have 2 and 2. So who knows? I guess I'm gonna have to have somebody else ride these bikes.
Yeah, break
and
the
kind
tie.
Of give me an idea on
Sure.
who's what. But there it is. That's your full review of these two bikes, and especially from a guy who's never ridden one before, you kind of get your instant feedback on that. I thank you for watching us. I'll catch you on the next one, and enjoy the ride.
Thank you.